Good morning, nerds. Happy Thursday/Friday. You are on the verge of another weekend. I hope that you've had a good remote week, and I am very excited to see you in class again next week. Today, there will be no Zoom class. This video is it. You will then submit on Empower for attendance today. If you need help or assistance at all, if you just simply want to say hi, I will have office hours today from 12 to 3. You can just hop on our normal Zoom link for help if you have questions. Otherwise, you can email me to ask those or to set up a separate Zoom time. I am available outside of those hours, but that's when the link will be open, ready for anyone who wants to pop on. Please make sure that your assignments and work are submitted by 2:30 today, as my attendance is due by 3 o'clock. We'll begin with a little mindful recharge, then we'll move into our new vocabulary list. We'll talk a little bit about catching up and the importance of that, and then you will do an IB Learner Portfolio reflection to check in on how IB's going and how we can maybe do better in the future. So I wanted to take a moment today to recognize that it's probably that time of year where you're feeling a little bit run down. The end of October, November tends to feel really heavy because we've been in school for a bit. We've been back and forth between in-person and remote. And so you're probably getting kind of sick of it. And in general, we're probably just kind of sick of COVID and this world we're living in. So take a moment to make sure that you recharge yourself over the next couple days, over the weekend, whatever that means. There's a couple of ways you can do that. The first being, those biological things we talked about at the beginning of the year. As a human, you need a few specific things. You need sleep. Have you gotten enough sleep lately? Are you staying up way too late but then sleeping all day? That's not necessarily the best sleep either because you're messing up your rhythm, right? Have you been drinking enough water? I know I haven't, so I've got my water with me today. Right? Set a goal. Try to drink more water. How's your fuel looking? What food have you been putting in your body? Has it been a lot of fast food? Because that's not fueling your brain. It's probably making you feel more tired and lethargic. So how could you get in like a salad or a smoothie or some grilled chicken or something a bit healthier today? Take deep breaths, right? Do some breath work, maybe some meditation if you're in the mood. Even just simply like taking a breath and holding it as long as you can and then letting it out and doing that a few times can do wonders on fueling the brain with oxygen and blood flow. Last but not least, move your body. Endorphins are like crack. Truly. When you get those endorphins rolling, they get your body up and moving. You will feel more awake. You will feel more capable. You will feel more alive. Other ways you might want to recharge are those personal things you like to do that make you feel like you're resetting. So consider what those personal things are. For me, oftentimes it's music or riding my bike or skating. Like the wind blowing in my hair and on my face is part of what that is for me. I think it reminds me of being a kid. Time with family is usually pretty recharging for me because they know me and love me no matter what, and I don't have to try to be anything around them. And then lastly, cleaning and organizing tends to help me sort of reset the stage and make me feel like I've got a space that's comfortable to work in. So take some time to recharge, right? Treat yourself like you do your phone. Do you ever let your phone run out of battery? Maybe you do. I do all the time. But let's not let ourselves run out of battery, right? Go recharge before this gets down into the red. Okay, so we're going to have some more vocabulary words this week. Like I said last week, we are trying to really beef up our vocab. The reason being is that I've seen through your IAs that that's a need, but also when you get into these writing assessments, those words are going to need to be on the forefront of your mind rather than needing to go look them up. So we're going to try to build up our vocabulary brain. You have a new list that has been shared with you on vocabulary.com for chapters 4 through 6. So log in to vocabulary.com. You'll see that there's a most recent assignment that's been shared with you in your notifications or under your assignment tab for vocab 4 through 6. You have 1 week to practice. You should practice the entire word list today, at least twice. So you can just click on the practice function, and when you do, it'll take you through a series of questions, just like we did with the vocab jam last week, and you can make some guesses. So one thing to mention here about this is that oftentimes the answers that are provided for you are words that you might not know. And so immediately you might kind of know what adoration means, but you might not know what it means in relation to these ones. So typically when I'm trying to do this stuff, I will begin by taking the word that I'm looking at and defining it for myself. What does adoration mean in my own head? So adoration comes from adore. And when I adore something, I love it. I almost sort of even put it on a pedestal, right? Adoration is much more than love. It's more like you look up to, or this thing is put on a pedestal. So when I look at these word options, I need to try to pick something that best fits with this. Germination, I'm not totally sure, but I've heard it when it comes to like seeds and seeds being planted and growing. Derivation, I know like derivative is like what comes from something. So I don't think that really fits. Magnification, if I adore something, I might magnify it. So that might be close for me. And then glorification. If we glorify something, then we also do that sort of thing where we put it up on a pedestal and say, oh, this is the best. So for me, glorification is going to be the closest to adoration. Click on that. Nice job. And then it tells you what adoration is. It tells you the original etymology of the word so that you can know what those Latin and Greek roots are. The more you pay attention to those things, the more you can guess what future words are. And then you just click the arrow and keep moving through, and you will find that you might know more of these words than you think. Okay? So after you've done some vocabulary practice, I want you to take a moment to do a little bit of a reflection and check-in. Remember, you have this portfolio that we've been working on for the past year and a half. It's all of your thinking, planning, practice with analysis, reflections, and that portfolio is going to be turned in at the end of this year. So some of us have a bunch of that in our spiral notebooks, and then probably this year, a lot of us have started just really using the digital folder more, which is fine. You can use either. It's your choice. So decide if you're going to use your lit notebook today or do a new document in your Drive folder. You'll compose an entry, shoot for at least 1 page, go for more if you want, and answer the following questions. Please answer all of them. Number 1, how has remote learning impacted your performance in IB so far? What aspects have helped for you? And which have been a hindrance? I've noticed working at home the past 2 weeks that there are some things I do like about it. I am a better worker in some ways. And there's other things that I don't love about it. So be honest with yourself about what works for you and what doesn't. Secondly, in which ways have you seen the most growth throughout the past year? Consider your learner profile characteristics when responding. I have included those down here for you if you need to. The assignment in Empower also has an image of the characteristics if you want to use that to remind yourself about what they are. Next, what has this program, IB Lit or IB in general, or this experience taught you? And then lastly, how would you evaluate your effort and preparation for the IA? What worked for you? What didn't? What can you make sure to do for the next assessment to ensure success and confidence, right? Reflect on this IA experience and what you did well and what you could do better. If you haven't yet given your IA, that's okay. You can still answer this question because you know what your preparation has looked like thus far, okay? Last but not least, I want to take a moment to reiterate the importance of these other things getting done, right? If you're still yet to perform your IA, you've got to be practicing that, making sure you're turning in your bullet list and analysis, making sure I see it. Those people who didn't have me look at their analysis before have been performing lower on the IA. They're missing little things that I would have told them about. So when I reach out and say, hey, do you want to have a quick Zoom to look at your ideas? It is highly, highly recommended you say, yes, miss, I would love to have a Zoom, because that Zoom is my opportunity to give you some hints that will help increase your score just a little bit. We are over halfway done with the IAs. They've been great. I thoroughly enjoy listening to all of your ideas. This is still continuously a missing piece for a lot of people. Is context. You have to provide context. You have to talk about that global issue a little bit and show that it is a concern. And then when you get to your 40-line sets, give me a little bit of foundation, some understanding of what's the scenario here, what's happening in this moment, so that when you start analyzing it, I understand what the situation and the setting is of that particular moment. Okay. If you miss a Socratic discussion, get on and please complete that. This is the one that you missed in class. The parlay discussion has been closed, so you can't make that one up at this point in time. Make sure you're reading your text. You should have already finished A Doll's House and In the Blood. But if you haven't, get them done. They are short. You can read them in 1 day or 2 days. So make it happen. Otherwise, you should be working through Beloved. We'll talk about where you should be here in another slide. You have a few quizzes on Empower that we still have a lot of folks missing. A lot of people are missing A Doll's House and In the Blood quiz. And then additionally, today you should be submitting your Beloved chapters 1 through 3 quiz as part of your attendance. In general, there are just a lot of missing assignments on Empower, guys. It scares me. So please, please, please get on today and try to do a little bit of extra work for me so that you can get caught up. And when we go off to Thanksgiving break, you really feel like you're going to come back and finish the semester strong. If you haven't done the slave trade pre-reading and watching of Toni Morrison Strange Fruit, please make sure you do that. We will have a class discussion about all of those items and a few more at the end of next week. All right, so as you're reading, make sure that you are keeping a comfortable pace. Make sure that you're annotating or taking notes. Don't forget to take breaths and be comfortable being confused sometimes, because this book is confusing. I remember the first time I read it in high school, I was like, what is going on? I had no clue. Now that I've read it, this is my 6th time reading this book, I understand it way more, right? So the rereading aspect is really helpful. Don't be afraid to reread some paragraphs. And then lastly, where you're at, you need to keep reading from where you last left off. Your goal is to be through chapter 8 by Wednesday. You will have a good chunk of reading time in class on Monday and Tuesday, so keep that in mind. If you're already on chapter 6, you don't really need to read this weekend because you'll have time to do it on Monday, Tuesday. If you are still in chapter 2, you should be reading, okay? If you're looking for page numbers in the book, that's page 74, and in the digital copy, it's page 50. The nice thing about the digital copy is the chapters are actually labeled, so they're really easy to find. You will have a quiz on chapters 4 through 8 and your new vocabulary list in 1 week. So 1 week from today, we will have a quiz and we will do a discussion about all these pre-reading contextual slave trade stuff before we really get into analysis of the text. The following week is where we're going to really dig our feet into analyzing, okay? So today, you should make sure that you are turning in 2 things specifically for your attendance. Your Beloved quiz chapter 1 through 3. That should already basically be done because we started it in class last time. You're going to finish the last 3 questions on your own, and then you'll submit it. If you weren't in class last time and weren't a part of the collaborative piece of the quiz, tough luck. You're doing the whole quiz by yourself. You got this. Do the best you can. Second thing you're turning in today is your IB portfolio reflection. Both of those things are on Empower under the Beloved playlist. We only have 5 weeks left in the semester, guys. 5 weeks. I see you twice a week. I have 10 more classes with you before the semester ends. That is it. So truly, if you have been slacking off, slack no more. There's no time to procrastinate. You really got to get on it. Remotivate. Email me. Let's have a talk. Let's figure out a way to get you back in the zone. But don't give up on yourself. And don't quit. And don't say it's too late. Because it's not. It's never too late. It's never too late to start over. All right, so get this work done, submit it on Empower, get some recharge and relaxation in this weekend, and I will see you in class next week. I hope that you have a lovely day, and I miss you so very much. Take care.